2, 3.
Wait.
Okay, this chirping should all start. Your table kind of did it all together. That little there you go. There's your Cricut chirping.
The sound turned off on mine.
Alright, that's okay. Oops.
Jeez.
Are you okay? Does everybody have power though? Are we good with
Yes,
that?
I'm good now.
Alright, you can play with that at home. You get crazy. Alright, let's next talk about speed. So on your machines, okay, and I'm backwards, but your right side here, there's one dial all by itself. That is your size dial, okay? Over here on the left, left, top one is your speed dial. So these are in order. You're going to check the blade first, then you're going to go to your speed. So that is your settings. Now, for those of you with expressions, you're going, where's the number 3, 4, or 5? On your screen, which by the way, you can pull up so that you can see it from a seated position. Okay? If it's a brand new machine, you're going to have to pull a little
That's
bit.
your pressure. Or your, no, I'm sorry,
So,
that's your speed.
on here,
No, come on, stand along the thing.
you have along the bottom mat size, speed, pressure, and size. Okay? So right above there, you'll see those indications. So on speed, you'll see some little bars that look like a graph. If there are 3, 4, or 5 bars lit, that's how you determine this number. Okay? So you're counting bars. For baby buggers, you either have a number or a sliding grid. The older machines have just a triangle.
Yeah.
But now the newer ones have numbers. So,
You need a newer one.
Oh, you mean when I change it?
yeah. Right on the side. You should have a little
Mine
block
says
here.
minimum, maximum.
Okay. Did you have a little box here with
Oh, yours
numbers?
says numbers? Mine doesn't.
You have no
Mine's old.
numbers?
I
Okay.
got it figured out.
So, yeah, max is the 5. Okay? So that's how you can dial down from there. 3 is the medium. Medium, high, and max. That's the only 3 numbers you need to know. 3, 4, 5. Okay? So that is your speed. Now, speed is normally personal choice. That's what I consider it because I like to be on max on everything. Okay? Speed will affect some of your cuts. So, if in doubt, set it to this. Because if you're going too fast on some of these materials, it will look like a dull blade. It will skip, it will pull, it will rip your paper. Slow it down. Okay?
Max, do you set on speed is 5?
5.
Okay.
So, but if you're counting bars, all your bars are lit. Because these only go to 5. There's no 6 over here. Okay? It's only 5. Pressure is the next dial down. Okay? Pressure and blade work together to cut through the product. So if you're having trouble getting through the product, you need to check your pressure and your blade. Okay? Those two things will affect the success you have cutting your product like nothing else. Okay? Lastly, speed, but mainly your pressure and your blade. Okay? If you get those wrong, your project's going to be messed up. You're going to be cutting again and again and again. Okay? So hopefully this helps you. You need to get in the habit of every time you put something down on the mat to cut, checking your setting. Just get in that habit and you'll never go wrong. Because if you forget in between, you could have switched from paper to cardstock or cardstock to fabric or whatever you're switching back and forth to. If you forget to check, you will be recutting. Okay? Next thing we're going to talk about is your mats. So lots of mats. When you purchase a mat, you get 2 in a package, whether they're the small or the big. I recommend that you have at least 3 when you start cutting a lot. If you're not cutting that much, maybe you're okay with 1. But I recommend at least 3 because the second you get past your basic cartridges and you get into layering, you will want to go faster. And going faster means cutting something, setting it down, cutting the next layer, setting it down, cutting the next layer, setting it down, closing the machine, sitting down to work. You will lose less pieces, you will work faster, you will have fun with your layering. Okay? But if you have to cut, pull it off, cut, pull it off, cut, pull it off because you've only got 1 mat, you're going to lose pieces and you're not going to have as much fun. Okay? So 3 mats minimum. I have 30.
There's a stack.
Stack. And they all look, I call this loved. Does that look loved? But I shed a tear this week because I had to actually throw out my very first mat ever. I've had it forever. And I actually threw out my #1 mat this week.
Will you explain putting the film on the mat?
Yes, I'm going to do that.
Oh, sorry.
That's what I'm getting to now. But that's my first mat for 5 5 years on the Expression. I've had the little one 7. But I've had it for 5 years, and it is loved, abused, some people call it. Looks like this. The other one looked worse. Okay. That sounds bad, and I'll explain why in a minute. But, okay, so they get pretty junked up. They get a lot of use. This and your blades, the two things you'll go through the most, okay? Now, something nobody tells you when you buy a mat right out of the package is this sheeting material that's meant to protect it has a right side and a wrong side, okay? If you feel it, one side will feel oilier. The oily side must be down towards your mat. Do you notice that all my mats have names or something written on them? Some have names, some have my website, some have numbers. Okay, I have a Sharpie on each table. Okay, I put a Sharpie on each table. Yes.
How I found out the hard way, it was one side had a sticker, and I put it down. Then I
When you
peeled the
get
sticker
them
off.
right out of the package or just out of the box,
That's how I found the hard
mark
way.
it with your name, a little smiley face, a symbol, your logo, the high school name, whatever you want, so that when you go to put this on backwards, you'll know immediately, oops, don't do that. Why do you not want to do that? If you put it on backwards and you pull this off, what will happen is your glue will wind up here and not here. It will rip off. And yours, that's the wrong way.
It's the wrong way.
Yeah. You can also hear it if you can't feel it. A good sticky mat. Now, if we can get everyone to be quiet real
Mine's the
quick.
right way or not?
Yeah. Let me. Did you get one out of the
No, it might
package
could be
yet?
that
Let me
Sharpie.
get
This one's brand new. This is brand new.
Okay.
I haven't even used it.
So brand new one. Everybody will be quiet
First
real
one,
quick and I'll let you hear it, okay? Hear that suction-y sound? That's the right sound. If that were on backwards, it sounds like ripping paper. That's better. The other sound sounded bad. You can tell by hearing it if you cannot hear it, okay? Now, mine sounded bad when I took it off because I have redone the adhesive on mine. So here is how you do that. In your bag, everybody reach in, you have a Zig pen, okay? It is a glue pen. This company, Zig, makes this liquid glue, dries to it, okay? The most commonly asked question after, how do I know it's cutting right, is what do you use for those teeny tiny shapes? Because Cricut can do teeny tiny letters, teeny tiny shapes. There are 2 recommendations I have. One is a sticker maker, an X, okay? You can run little things down here, pull it out this end, peel the cover off, and you've turned it into a sticker. The glue's on the back. The second one, and probably the one I use the most, is the glue pen. This is ballpoint pen. Okay, your glue goes on there, and I'm just going to show you on here for demo. Skinny blue line. See how skinny that is? Okay, it stays that. You see I'm holding it sideways, it keeps its form. Okay, why is that important? Well, you can get the back of those little letters. You can also add glitter to anything, okay? We're going to talk about glitter paper in a second, but I don't recommend you cut glitter paper. I recommend you add glitter where you want it, okay? Now, most mats now will get either little bare spots as you're cutting, where you've either ripped off the glue from your sheeting material, or it's just worn out one spot. You can do patches with that little blue Zig pen. But what I recommend for when your mat is completely gone, wasted, all the adhesive's off, you scrape it really well. If you don't have one of these, you want one, okay? You scrape all the junkies, lumpy bumpies, everything off of it. You can also baby wipe it or wash it under hot soapy water, okay? Get it all the way clean, dried off. You get one of these. It's the same thing as the glue pen you have, only they've now remade them with these really nice wide mouths. You pump it till the blue starts coming out, blue liquid, and you just go end to end, okay? This one, it's from January of this year. It's probably been re-tacky 2 times, at least 2 or 3 times, okay? So when you lose your stick, and you will, that just happens with use, then you can just re-put this on. What I recommend is you leave it on the shelf for 24 hours. You can use it after 10 minutes. It's completely dry and tacky. But what happens is it's not soaked all the way in, so it's going to be hard on whatever you put on. So if you let it cure for 24 hours, it's more tacky than really sticky hard. Okay, does that make sense?
So you do that and let it sit for 24 hours before you put this back
Then you
on.
put the sheet in. After that point though, your sheeting hopefully already has your name on it, because it will sound rough every time. That sounds a little sticky. It usually sounds rougher than the other way, okay? It's a lot heavier tap than normally. Okay, there are repositionable adhesives out there. They do not work, okay? Anything that's not a 3M product, the repositionable sprays, after 24 hours it turns to permanent adhesive, okay? The 3M is tacky and not permanent, but what happens with the 3M is it works great for the day. If you go back the next day to touch your mat is bone dry. Feels like desert sand. It's really just dry, 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 no tackiness. So you will go through more, you know, it'll be like a daily thing if you do repositionable spray. It's the only thing that holds tackiness, okay? Now, I did bring one of these, I think it was over there. I didn't bring many, I'm sorry, I should have thought. That's why I gave you the small one. The brand is this, the name is on the small pen you have now, and the packaging always looks the same. It's always blue and white.
And you said after you've re-stickied it, it will always sound like more ripping sound?
It does.
Okay.
Yeah, the sound is only good right out of the package. But once you put the name on, you're good. You know, once you've done it, you should be okay. Any questions about your mat or care of the mat? Okay, with your mat, the last thing I want to cover is that you cannot, your machine cannot, it can handle thickness, thick material, but what it can't do is handle layers, okay? So most of us think, of course I'm not going to put 2 sheets on there and cut. But some of us leave behind little things like that, okay? If you leave behind a little thing that you can feel with your nail, when your blade hits that with another piece of paper on top of it, it's going to skip right there, or it's going to rip, okay? So if you're getting perfect cuts and there's one spot that's ripping, or not cutting through, or skipped for some reason, you want to lift up that paper and check what's right underneath. 2 things could be happening. 1, you have one spot that has no glue on your mat, or 2, you've left behind a little piece of something and it felt it, and that's why it's doing it. Okay? Because your blade does not like doubled up material. So that's why this is great. Pull all that stuff off. Okay? So blades and mats, 2 most. Any questions I haven't covered on blades or mats? Because those are the things you'll use the
Quick
most.
question, deep cut blade.
Yes, I brought a deep cut blade so that you can see what it looks like. Here's the deep cut blade. It will be blue.
What are they for?
Okay, they were invented for cutting chipboard. Don't recommend it for cutting chipboard. Surprising, right? Don't cut chipboard with this. Okay? You can. I don't recommend it. What happens, and you can probably see this on here, I brought a refill, but the tip of that is broken off. That's what happens when you cut chipboard with your deep cut blade. The deep cut blade, these are not interchangeable. When you buy this in a package in a tube, it has a blue plastic covering. You cannot swap them. You cannot put the blue, it just doesn't fit, doesn't work. Okay? This blade was invented to go through thicker material, so the angle of the blade is sharp.
Okay.
It's a sharper cut. If you compare the two, this to the green one, my green one's not out. The green is a short stubby blade with a smaller angle, with a less sharp angle. This is more like a 45-degree angle. Okay? So, this was made to go slice through thicker material. So the longer angle, the better it slices through. Problem is, with chipboard, they didn't account for density. Okay? When this hits foam, when this hits magnet material, when this hits fabric, when this hits stencil, perfect. Slides down and in and slices through. It's beautiful. When it hits chipboard, boom. Okay? Not all chipboard is soft. Some are, but not all. So that's what happens to the blade. The tip just snaps right off with the chipboard. So we are going to cut chipboard today. We're going to cut it with your regular blade. Your little workhorse blade can cut chipboard. It can cut magnet. It can cut everything I put on the list we're going to cut today. Okay? So if you have a deep cut blade and you like it, use it. I use mine, but you don't have to. Everything we're going to cut today, we can make work with your regular blade. So it's a great purchase if you want one, not necessary.
Do you need to adjust the pressure or speed or different
Yeah,
when you're using
well,
the deep
I
cut?
basically stay in the 4, 5, or 6 still.
Okay.
The only thing I really use the 6 for is felt, and it has to be bonded felt, or the fun foam that we're going to cut today.
Okay.
But other than that, even magnet, I think I stay at 5. Chipboard, I stay at 5. There is some chipboard you can cut with this, and you all have it for free in your homes. It is the cereal boxes, cracker boxes. Okay, that's all free chipboard. You can all go home and cut up today. Okay.
We've been eating a lot of cereal.
Yeah, my kids have cereal in bags and containers. The boxes are busy. Okay, so yeah, your recycle
Everything's
bins.
in Ziplocs.
Yeah. They all know. Cereal box, give it to mom. Toilet paper rolls. I'll talk about that later. I'm collecting toilet paper rolls like crazy. So that's the deep cut blade.
Okay.
So if you're interested in that, yes, I like it and I use it and I have it, just not for chipboard.
Okay. Is that harder on the machine itself because it's only making one cut?
No. You can multi-cut with this. You don't need to, but no, it's not hard on the machine. It descends about the same. What it's counting on is that angle sinks in and gives you a nice deep slice. You know, it's like going into a big chunk of meat and just, you know, it's that kind of a thing. Oh, there you go.
Vegetarian, she had a
Big
big
Oh,
carrot.
sorry.
A big carrot,
Sorry,
there you
sorry.
go.
Okay, I'm going to hand some of these out. Couple there, another couple
That
here.
is funny.
What is this? This is